there are a group of criminals in our society, some of them behind bars and some of them on the outside, form themselves into an amalgamated unit of an organized crime syndicate and intent on wreaking havoc on the good citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I hope that answers your question. The additional powers of the police, we, as per all state of emergencies, can now enter the premises of persons without a search warrant. And that is one of the key things that we must take into consideration, in particular with this state of emergency and the reason why it was asked for. Curfew. I have decided that that is not an issue with regards. I want the good citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to continue to enjoy their lifestyle without placing any undue sort of strain on them with regards to how they live, and we love to party and we love to socialize and all of that. So I would love to see Trinidad and Tobago continue. The persons who have to be concerned are the criminals, because this is what that particular SOE and the emergency powers geared to and aimed at targeting. So you, the good citizen, and all the good citizens that you know, Ms. Paul, have no reason to fear. Since 12:02 this morning, when I received the proclamation, at 12:05, my men already started covert and overt operations throughout the country. So the part with me coming from the prison was just a part of that. This is not an SOE of reaction. It is an SOE with proaction. So even whilst I was approaching the Prime Minister and the Attorney General to take action, I was hopeful and placed things in position to act immediately.
Mr. Guevara, just by chance, I know you said you made mention that certain persons were gang leaders were moved from the MSP in Aruca. Is it possible to get a number or even an average number of how many persons were moved this morning?
I will not be giving that information because I do not want to place any particular spotlight and give rise to any particular names being published that I do not want out into the public. We don't want to make these people famous, you know.
No, not necessarily.
No, not at
but
all.
If there's an average number of persons, even if you don't want to give a specific number, if it's more than the 12, yeah.
I will hold out from that. I will hold away from that question now. Just know that they are safely incarcerated in a place where communication is now limited.
Is there any information that there are members of the National Security Service who are part and parcel of this plot?
That is a very interesting question. And if I was to answer that question and tell you no, I would be lying to you and the members of the public. Because how else would Ms. Martin and her team, almost on a weekly basis, be finding phones inside of the same cells? So there are persons who seem hell-bent on facilitating the communication of these persons with the outside. So by removing them from that environment and placing them in one where they are a lot more secure, I can feel rest assured that that communication link is broken.
No, we have a state of emergency in place now. You said the inmates on the inside will move to a secure location where they can't communicate with others. Why wasn't that enough to address the situation?
Because they have persons on the outside. Remember I said they form themselves into an organized syndicate. Persons on the outside and persons on the inside working together. This is a big money thing, you know. Kidnapping, home invasions, extortions, the infiltration of URP gangs and state contracts. These are the things that they are using to fund. And guess what they're buying with the money? More guns to come after you. And that is what we want to prevent. So I would urge Trinidad and Tobago to work alongside the TTPS in bringing this to some successful closure. I want Trinidad and Tobago to feel safe. I don't want to presume that my officers will go out there and abuse the citizens. And if any reports of that come to my attention, I will treat with it. Or other legislation that govern us, policies, procedures. We have processes to deal with that. So fear not, good citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, will the TTPS be getting support from the Defense Force and will we be getting increased manpower from the Defense Force during this? And also, will the Defense Force have powers of arrest?
Yes, the Defense Force officers will have powers of arrest, similar to police officers during the emergency powers regulations. And yes, the CDS and I have spoken. He was present at the National Security Council meeting yesterday, and he has pledged full support for our efforts.
Now, this intelligence that you would have gathered about this plot, it was gathered during which period? How long ago? Was it just yesterday alone or over a period of time?
So over a period of a couple of months, bits and pieces of intelligence data came to bear. However, yesterday afternoon, a particular intelligence report came to my attention that had to be brought immediately before the National Security Council. So even though there were existing reports within the sphere of the intelligence data, yesterday's report was as they say, the proverbial straw that breaks the camel back. Yes, that's the one. Looking at the holistic view of it, those who are unable to treat with their individual problems, the TTPS will help them. And you know what we will do, right? Nice.
Make a tell me still.
They will face the court. Just as I said, the parents who cannot control their children, we will do what? Confine them. If they can't control the people who work under them, we'll confine them for them too. And the mere fact that I went to that prison this morning, it had plenty room. Plenty room. I saw cells there with 8 and 10 double deckers empty. So, have room.
Yeah, you've been very specific in your wording, and you've said that the SOE is necessary to combat a particular threat.
Particular threat.
The Constitution allows after the declaration 15 days. It may be without going to the House. So it may be preempted to ask, but I still have to ask, is it that you have a time frame in mind to treat with this threat? As you mentioned, it's a particular threat that you're dealing with. And
So
do you expect to be done within 15 days, or you may have to go back?
So this is a very fluid situation. And as I mentioned before, at 12 last night is when I collected this document, and I've been up since then. So it rose. I was in the prison this morning, I was in other places. So it is fluid. I cannot give rise to a particular sunset date on this. But I can tell you, the decision to put a sunset on this does not rest with the TTPS or the Commissioner of Police. It rests elsewhere.
Can you say whether or not the kidnapping of Sati Karim is in any way connected to this or is part of this?
I would want to be very cautious and not give rise to pointing any particular fingers, especially since the young lady is still in the hands of kidnappers. So let us stay away from that aspect. But you will be updated accordingly.